Good time zone, my guys, gals, non-binary pals, and folks of all shapes and sizes. We are back at it again at the lovely Seamstress's Lounge, playing some Shadowrun Returns, and we are going to check out the secret runner hideout underneath the Seamstress's Union. We already spoke to Mrs. Kubota, so the dialogue window we don't actually need. Unless she's gonna say something to us. No, she's not gonna say anything to us. Is she? Oh! She is. Okay, so we'll ask if Mr. Delilah's here. He's in the back bar. That's usually where he does business. Great. You mentioned Coyote's crusade. What is it? Coyote grew up in the Royale, but managed to escape that life. However, her cousin was apparently not so lucky. He came to town about a year ago and fell in with the wrong circle. He was introduced to sim chips and then became addicted to BTLs. Coyote has been tearing her way through chip houses for months now, searching for him and acting as a one-woman cleanup crew. So if you don't mind, how did you get involved in all this? I am a former runner. Now I provide a safe haven and a marketplace for runners who need a trustworthy place to congregate and do business. Based on the fact that she doesn't appear to be, obviously augmented and she's not wearing any magical paraphernalia, I'm guessing she's what's called a face, which is a social character. Are any Johnsons or Fixers here tonight? In addition to Mr. Delilah, you may wish to speak to Von Grass. He's often stage side. He's most often a receiver of found articles, but occasionally he has work. So he's a fence. Let's go check it out. Alright, there's Van Grass, and Delilah's at the back bar, which is through here, I believe. Let's go talk to Van Grass. Got some shit? He's busy talking on his comlink, checking his heads-up display, and motioning to a runner at the same time. He's an intense little man. You get the sense he likes to look busy. Mrs. Kubota said you're a fixer. Still hasn't looked at you. He's going a mile a minute. Nothing for you tonight. Sorry. I'm doing a thing right now. Important thing. Talk to you later. Oh, hey guy. One more thing. Covers his comlink for a moment. Tilts his head your way, but you can still see he's staring at his heads-up display. I'm a fence too. If you got anything you need to unload, come see me. Well, I don't have any gear I need to sell, so unfortunately for everybody, I'm gonna cut through here. Talk to some folks. So there's a few people we can talk to here. Johnny Clean, to start. Johnny leans on his seemingly brand new mop and surveys the crowd at the Union. We don't have a choice to back out of this conversation, unfortunately, but all of these are stupid questions. I'm looking for where Cherry took Coyote. The piano's a little out of tune. Check it out. Yeah, because you have to play a secret song on the piano. Alright, let's talk to Mr... No, we can't talk to Mr. Clue. Mr. Delilah is supposed to be here. How interesting. Did we not hand over the gems? Did we hand over the gems? We did hand over the gems. Okay. We are going to spend some karma real quick, though. Let's go ahead and upgrade our ranged combat. Upgrading to 4 allows us to take Overwatch, which is super good. We already have aimed shots with shotguns, so I think the next thing that we're going to want to upgrade will probably be... We'll upgrade our willpower, because we do not want to get screwed up by mages or spirits. It's just bad news. Actually, do we have anything we can spend 2 karma on? Yeah, we'll upgrade the pistol, honestly. Upgrading the pistol is a good idea because we are going to need a backup weapon pretty soon. It does say to meet all the black market vendors in the safe house, so that is what we're going to do. Go play the secret tune. Piano looks like it's been here since the Union was built, but doesn't look like anyone's played it in earnest for almost as long. Now, we could play chopsticks, which will probably get us thrown out. but we can play GAFFC, which is the code we were given. As you slowly peck the notes out on the keyboard, they spark a faint memory of wonder, immediately forgotten as the entire piano slides to the left, revealing a hidden staircase. You descend the stairs into the Union safe house. I wish I knew what GAFFC translated into, like in music notes. But it's very hard for, I can't do piano notation. Alright, the entrepreneur... Oh, I missed it. Well, the entrepreneurial Mrs. Kubota has clearly set up a bunch of stuff here. So, let's go poke around, see what we can do. Welcome. No bunks available. Let's go look at this. What is this? Oh, it's a stash. You like that? We're gonna put this jazz patch. I was gonna put it on Paco, but I think I'm gonna wait on that for a minute. And it looks like it automatically got swapped out for a grenade, so that's cool. Love that for me. Go boop around over here. What do we got? Algernon. Past the bar, the edges of the safe house become somewhat indistinct due to the magical haze surrounding a particular elf. The man seems only half of this realm, his mind wandering the far horizons of astral space while his body peddles his otherworldly wares. So this is going to be our Talus Legger, or Talus Monger, as the case may be, selling magical items. Good evening, young human, and welcome to this humble home that we call the Union. I am Algernon Half-Dream. To ease your way through the sixth world, I offer you the best in magical foci, spells, and fetishes for the conjuring of spirits. Another time, Algernon. We're not magically capable, so there's no point in us utilizing that. Let's talk over here. Let's talk to Eric Mersman. Change your clothes, change your life, right? Not only will you look better, not that you look bad now or anything, but each one will help to keep you on the right side of the ground. Take a look. See what he's got in the way of body armor. It looks like we are still packing the best armor that he has for sale, so we're not going to mess with that. Who's this guy? T.B. Gruberman. He's packing a big-ass pistol, so he seems like he's the guy already. Theodore Buster Gruberman is a well-groomed orc, dressed with a precision that suggests the straight lines of a military officer's uniform. His hair is cropped short, high and tight, as they say, and the neatness this presents is only compromised by the uneven tusks protruding from his mouth. The only other defect in this picture of perfection is the man's cybernetic right arm, which is obvious enough to be noticeable, but not so obvious as to ruin the line of his suit. When he speaks, the orc's voice is soft and thoughtful, and he talks almost exclusively in numbers. Calibers, ranges, rounds per second, arc of fire, razoring factor, tensile strength, and of course, price. Bunker Buster Gruberman, at your service. Friends call me Buster. I also answer to Sergeant, Sir, and even Theodore on occasion. Anytime you're in the market for firearms, ammunition, or ordnance, I'm your man. How can I help you? This is the guy we need to talk to. So, this guy's going to offer us quite a few opportunities for weapons. The main thing we're going to be interested in, though, is the Cheska Black Scorpion as a backup pistol. Obviously a good thing. Benelli Raffaello is also going to be something that we want to go with, simply because while it is 2 damage less than the Street Sweeper, and the range is identical, the capacity is what counts, because a double-barreled shotgun, as cool as it is, it's simply not worth the hassle, honestly. So we're going to take the Benelli, and we're going to take the Cheska as our backup, just in case. We're going to see if he's got any other weapons, a machete and a baseball bat. Nothing major. Consumables, he's got some grenades, med kits, and drone repair kits, but we're not packing any of those. So we'll just take that for the time being. We're going to put the Street Sweeper in our stash. We do have a third weapon slot, which we don't necessarily want to mess with right now. Focusing 2 weapons is really going to be enough. if we do take a close combat weapon for melee, which is highly unlikely, it'll probably occupy that third slot. That said, let's go talk to David Fry II. Every inch of the tech alcove is covered in a chaotic patchwork quilt of circuit boards, chips, wires, displays, and a million other things that you can't identify. In the eye of this techno-bit storm stands a dwarf, immaculately dressed and supremely calm. I know that look. Don't let the size of the shop fool you. I can get any Matrix hardware or software that exists, and if it doesn't exist, I can get it made for you. Any questions I can answer, or any gear you need. We do not need any of this because we are not playing a Decker character. Later on, if we acquire a party member who might be a Decker, possible. Not right now. Oh, I'm being rude. Let me also introduce you to our resident Decker and my good friend, Johnny Clean. While in the same overalls that you saw him in upstairs, down here, leaning over a workbench crammed with circuit boards, cables, and chips, Johnny Clean seems a totally different person. You get the impression that Johnny was once as hot and as invisible as the most infamous Deckers today. Good to see you down here. Happy to be of help if I can be. We can ask why he's dressed as a janitor. We already know how decking is used, we've been over that. But, yeah, why are you dressed as a janitor? Did I stand out upstairs? No, janitors never do. When I was younger, I had a rep for getting in and getting out of systems so cleanly that no one knew I was there. Half the Matrix runs that earned me my rep were made possible because I was able to get inside the facility posing as a janitor. Now it's just sort of part of me. Is it true that you were part of Echo Mirage? If we ask him that, I mean, the answer is going to be, I can't tell you. Or if I tell you, I would have to kill you. Let me take this one. Listen, I've known the guy for over a decade and he's been smart enough not to tell me, so he's sure as hell not going to tell you anything about those days. For your health and his, best to let the subject drop. So, with that, we will bid them adieu, and we're going to head over here. These guys are just like watching TV. But we'll talk to Dr. Sarah Castle. Make it quick, I need to operate. And she's got a little dude on her shoulder. That's cool. Thanks for helping me out back there. Looked like you could use a hand. Ouch, bad joke right now. She looks down at her mangled arm, which is technically right there on the little operating table. Okay, folks, I'm gonna have to ask you to go sit in the waiting area, watch some Trivid or something. This young lady and I have work to do. Apologies for that background noise. My 10-pound ball of anxiety disguised as a chihuahua is probably concerned about somebody walking down the street right now. This is normal. Unfortunately, she is a little bit anxious, and so we kind of have to take care of that as best we can. So we'll just say, take it easy, Coyote. We'll be here when you wake up. Who said anything about me going to sleep? Just give me something to bite on. Yikes. You're tough, kid, but you're not that tough. Okay, Coyote, let's take a look at your face. Leave it. Excuse me? Coyote, I earned this face by being stupid. I'm gonna keep it. End story. Whatever you say, kid. With one swift move, she sinks a syringe into Coyote's thigh. Good night. And we fade to black. We now come to, and Coyote is back with us. Let's talk to Coyote. Coyote looks both better and worse than the last time you saw her. All the gaping holes are plugged, and she's sporting a shiny new cyber arm, but now that the adrenaline is worn off, it's clear she needs some rest. Good morning. Thanks to the miracle of modern science, combined with Doc Castle's magical healing powers, I'm almost good as new. Better, really. You ready for some questions now? She flashes you a puzzled look. What kind of questions? About Sam Watts. Sam Watts? What about him? Sam's dead. Holy Trek, Sam. Can't say I'm surprised. He was on a downward spiral for a long time. What can I tell you? Tell me about Sam. I hear you liked him. I did. He made me laugh. No one else seemed to like Sam's jokes. But I did. Yeah, me too. You were friends? Yeah, that's why I'm here. Got it. Then you know. He was a charmer, wasn't he? I guess I knew him the best of everyone here. Sorry he's gone. You served Sam the night he died. What do you remember of it? It was a pretty average night. Regular crowd, as I remember. Sam was drinking with a guy named Armitage. Jake Armitage? Yeah, you know him? Met him. He's a charmer, too. She bites her lower lip. I like gingers. Anyway, Jake and Sam were having a few. Well, Jake was having a few. Sam was tossing them back for good. Eventually he got loud, the way he sometimes did when he mixed drinking and who knows what, and Mrs. Kubota wanted him ejected. Mr. Clue wasn't around, can't remember why, so she asked Jake to do the honors. Jake dragged him out the back into the alley, and that's the last time I saw Sam. He said he got loud. Do you remember what he was saying? She thinks. Standard Sam Drac. How he grew up rich and didn't deserve this, how he hated his mother, how he loved his mother. It was pretty pathetic stuff. How bad was his drinking? If it was just the drinking, it would have been bad, but Sam wasn't the monogamous type. He dabbled in everything. Booze, chips, drugs, he loved the nitro, whatever he could get his hands on. Wasn't always like that, but once he got sick, he started using more and more stuff to try to forget about it. Sam was sick? Dying, didn't you know? Yeah, everyone could tell. You could just look at him and see he was a walking corpse. Had to be the drinking. Then he disappeared for a while, and one day he came back all better. Looked good, even. All better. Just like that. Said his mom helped him out. Never said how, though. So, let's do some detective. Let's do some thinking. With our thinking caps and our thinking brains. So, we know that Sam was a substance abuser. Which is unfortunate, but it seems to be a running theme in this game, that substance abuse is a recurrent problem. And as much as we could talk about the social implications of that and everything like that, this isn't that kind of Let's Play. I mean, maybe in another Let's Play, but not this one. That said, what typically fails on a drug addict that makes them sick and start shambling around and so on is the liver. Now, if we think back to the first episode, I'm a terrible video editor, so I'm not going to be able to edit a flashback in, but if we think back to the first episode of this LP, Sam's liver was cut out. Odd coincidence, right? That he suddenly gets better, and then his liver gets cut out. Odd coincidence that the girl that died at the Stuffer Shack suddenly got new eyes, and her eyes were cut out by the Emerald City Ripper. It's odd. There's some theming there. There's a modus operandi, I believe it would be called. But anyway, let's file that away for later. Moving on. Did Sam have any enemies? She thinks. Enemies? That's hard to say. Sam partied hard, and when he did, he ran his mouth off pretty good. Got his ass kicked on more than one occasion. But no, I don't think he had any enemies, at least none that I'm aware of. But where did he live? On the streets, mostly. He'd occasionally convince someone to let him flop on their couch, but he'd always overstay his welcome and get kicked out after a few days. Sometimes I'd sneak him down here so he could crash in one of the bunks. He used one the night before I saw him last. Thanks, Coyote. Now I need you two to do something for me. What do you need, babe? I need you to talk to Mr. Delilah for me about the Royale run. He's usually upstairs. Tell him I didn't get the gems. Maybe I can take another run at it when I recover. But we have the gems. First up, let's go talk to Dr. Castle, because she's going to be our cyberware vendor. In Shadowrunner circles, the term doctor is often used quite liberally to describe any sawbones with a needle and thread, but in the case of the Union's medical expert, nothing could be further from the truth. Safe House boasts a fully equipped medical suite complete with shamanic fetishes. This is sixth world medicine, the highest caliber. The doctor herself is an unassuming sort, perhaps the type to go unnoticed entirely if not for the sprightly spirit perched on her shoulder, like her own personal gargoyle. Spirit's burning eyes follow you constantly, even as the doctor's own eyes are buried in her charts. However, she does look up long enough to acknowledge your approach. I'm Dr. Castle. I understand you were instrumental in bringing Coyote back to us. Thank you for that. Null Sheen. Now fixing up her arm, that was a piece of work. surprisingly routine as it so happens. She notes you eyeballing the facilities. I can tell you're surprised to find a full-service med bay under a dive bar in a slum. Don't be. This is Shadowrunner Bar, after all. For a purveyor of cyberware and trauma kits, there is no better place to set up a practice. I patch runners up, install and maintain their cyberware, and provide medical supplies for their runs. I may not be as mobile as Docwagon, but I'm the next best thing. Can I help you with anything? So, quick aside to talk about lore. Docwagon. Docwagon is a major corporation. They would be considered a AA level corporation as opposed to the 10 AAA corporations in the Shadowrun universe. But Docwagon is a mobile ambulance service with a shit ton of guns. Essentially, if something goes wrong, you crack your Docwagon card, which has a signal beacon in it, or your Docwagon bracelet, which is wired to your wrist. I apologize. Trauma Team, the equivalent in Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk 2077, is the one that uses a card with a distress beacon in it. Cyberpunk uses cards. Shadowrun uses bracelets. The bracelet is hooked into a biomonitor. If the biomonitor detects that your physical state is in distress, Docwagon is dispatched. They send out dudes with guns in an ambulance, and then based on the level of health insurance you have, insert obvious joke here, you get treatment, and then you get billed. That said, let's go ahead and question Dr. Castle. Let's see the medical supplies. Oh wait, I apologize. We do not need to see medical supplies. We need to see cyber. We can get cyber legs, which will add HP and quickness. We can get bone lacing, which will add body. Vision magnification cyber eyes. A silver tech cyber arm. A data jack. We can't use a data jack right now. We can use it later, so we're going to sit on our money. Anyway, the important thing to point out is the current essence and essence post-operation. So, essence is, in essence, haha, your humanity. How in tune you are with yourself. And the more cyberware you get, the less essence you have. The less essence you have, the more likely you are to undergo cyberpsychosis. If you reach 0 essence, you are a cyber psycho. End of question. Turn over your character sheet, you're an NPC. At least in the tabletop game. In this, it just serves as a hard limit. You can't drop your essence past a certain point. Now, in the 5th edition of the Shadowrun RPG, there were ways that you could optimize your remaining essence all the way down to 3 significant figures, meaning you could be at essence of 0.001 and still technically retain a sliver of your humanity. But that's getting into the realm of character optimization that I really don't want to revisit, because let me tell you, that was a time in my life. That was one of the experiences of all time. That said, let's go ahead and pop back out of here. Let's ask some questions. I see shamanic fetishes. Are you a shaman? While modern medical technology makes surgery less disruptive than it used to be, it's still an ordeal for both the body and spirit, requiring extensive recuperation to properly heal. I am trained in the ways of the spirit world as well as the scientific world. I do my best to heal the whole patient. So what's on your shoulder? This little guy supports the healing rituals I perform on my patients after surgery, dramatically reducing their recovery time. Not standard procedure, of course, but the results speak for themselves. Hey, whatever. So we're not going to buy anything from there. We do need to search Sam's bunk, and we did complete an optional objective, which is nice. The bunk is a mess and reeks of booze. Searching through the sheets, blanket, and pillow, you find an old photograph that's seen a lot of wear. Well, what is it? Pictures of a blonde boy and girl, about age 14, sitting on a dock on the edge of the lake. They appear to be twins. The boy has his arm tied around the girl's shoulders and is mugging for the camera. The girl is planting a kiss on his cheek while making rabbit ears behind his head with her fingers. Look at the back of the photo. Written in a woman's hand are the words Sam and Jessica, Lake Sammamish State Park, summer 2040. We're taking that with us. Evidence. Now let's go talk to Coyote again. You're back. I think the highlights of the Wolves game will be on soon. Want to take a load off and watch with me? Found something in the bunk Sam was using. Yeah, great. What was it? A photo. Did you know Sam had a twin sister? Yeah, I did. He mentioned her once or twice. It didn't sound like they got along that well, he thinks. He was rambling on about her the last time I saw him. By that point, he was completely gone. I really couldn't follow what he was saying, but he sounded miserable. Your comlink chips, and the screen shows the smiling face of Officer Aguirre. If he's smiling, must be about money. Talk. There's been another Ripper murder, this one at the NTSB investigation facility down on the docks. You owe me? Put it on my tab. You there now? Better get here quick before McCluskey arrives. The image on your PDA dissolves as the call ends. Another Ripper murder? Where? The docks. I gotta go. Okay, listen. I want to help. You dragged me out of the Royale before something bad happened. Worse than getting my arm torn off. And Sam was my friend. You head to the docks, and I'll see if I can track down Sam's sister Jessica. She might be able to help us. See you when I get back. So, next up, we gotta go upstairs to the bar, at which point we need to find Mr. Delilah. There he is. Weirdo. Let's talk to him. Mr. Delilah looks small and tough, with an untraceable shoddy on his back and a heavy vest under his trench coat. He's got the air of someone who gets things done and occasionally does them himself. He might be an ex-runner, one of the rare ones smart enough to move over to management when he felt his reflexes slowing down. What do you want? You Delilah? Yeah, what's it to you, asshole? Can't you see I'm busy? You sent Coyote to get you something. You've got it. At the mention of Coyote, he finally gives you his full attention. Why didn't you say so? Coyote's late and my client's getting anxious. Where is she? Downstairs in the med bay. Got her arm torn off on the job. No kidding? Huh. Well, whatever. She's tough. She'll pull through. So who are you two? Guys, it got your goods. What difference does it make? Don't make no difference to me. Where's the stones? I'm not going to try to put one over on this guy. I don't see a reason to do so. And from our character's standpoint, it's not worth it to us. It's not worth it to put that kind of risk on Coyote. Because if this guy is looking specifically for gems, then he's going to know if we short it. In an instant, there's a jeweler's scope on his eye. Moving quickly through what appear to be the most valuable stones, he stops when he finds what appears to be an ordinary pebble inscribed with Hebrew characters. That's the one. He pockets it. Okay, you done good, but you're late. And Coyote knows that in this case, late equals no payment. But I'm feeling magnanimous tonight, so you guys can keep the rest of the gems as your reward. Deal. Listen, you look like the sort of man who might run a crew of your own one day. You might need a little talent. When that happens, you come to me. I'll set you up. Looks like you impressed him. No offense for those gems, Van Grass. Follow me. So now we go talk to Van Grass again. Van Grass is fiddling with his cyber eye while noodling on his PDA. You're back. Still busy. What's your story? I can see you're a busy man. That's right, and? So I wouldn't bother you if I hadn't come into possession of these rare stones. Rare stones, huh? Let's see them. You hear the servos in Van Grass's cyber eye whir as a magnifying lens slips into position. He bends his head over the stones for 2 seconds, maybe less. Where'd you get this dreck? Gumball machine? I'll give you 1,000 for him. Sounds good. Pay me. Done. Give me a crit stick. Excellent. Now we can afford some better cyberware. But we're not going to just yet. So, our next mission is to take a cab to the docks to investigate the next crime scene. And that is where we're going to conclude our episode. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. It's been a pleasure playing Shadowrun Returns for you all. And I hope to see you next time. I apologize, content uploads have been a little spotty. Life gets in the way sometimes as a content creator with a full-time job and, a family. It can sometimes get in the way. But I am still here, I am still uploading, and I promise you I will continue. So, thank you once again. Remember, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, tell your pets. If you liked what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, Mr. Rogers would love you just the way you are, and so do I. Be good to each other out